was even greater. So it's at that moment that these 6 fears typically come to the surface. And I'm going to share with you, Mark's going to share with you 7 strategies that will help you overcome these fears and be more resilient when you're going through change, when you're going through COVID, when you're faced with a challenge, or when you're faced with a difficult situation. And you'll recognize them. Fear of failure. What if this doesn't work? Fear of embarrassment or exposure. What will this mean for me? I might look silly. Fear of conflict. What if they disagree with me? And if they do disagree with me, what if they reject my ideas? What if they reject my suggestions? And then, of course, if they do, I might lose something like my status, my job, my reputation. And during COVID, of course, you will have seen all of these fears come to the surface, whether that be fear of loss of health, fear of loss of a loved one, fear of loss of routine around working in the office and not working at the office. So all of these fears have come to the surface, and we've all probably experienced them. How well we've coped with them and how resilient we've been might be a function of whether we executed on a number of strategies that I'm going to share with you right now. So how do we overcome these 6 commonly held fears? Let's get into strategy number 1. I'll bring your attention to the sentence underneath the heading that says, where are we pointing our head torch? I like to think that our brain or our head has got a torch at the front of it. And what I mean by that is wherever we focus our head torch, that's what our brain sees. So if our brain focuses things on and shines our head torch on what could be bad about a situation, then that's what our brain sees. The previous question of what will taking action mean, pain or pleasure, is a perception question. It's not a truth question. I haven't done the bungee jump yet. My daughter hasn't eaten her vegetables yet. The individual contributor hasn't challenged their boss yet. So it hasn't happened yet. So it's only a perception, and that's good news because it's a perception, it means you can change that perception. And if you can change that perception, you can move towards the challenge. You can get through the change. You can make that challenge to your boss. But that perception depends on where your head torch is pointing. Quick exercise, feel free to join in. Just to illustrate this, here's what I'd like you to do just for the next 15 seconds. I'd like you to shine your head torch. And what I mean is notice everything in the room, wherever you're currently sitting, everything in the room that is red in color. I'll give you 10, 15 seconds to do that. Notice everything that is red. Okay, that's your 10 seconds up. If I asked you to look straight at the screen and now name everything in the room that was green, you would find it difficult to name everything in the room that was green because your brain has been focused on everything that's red. So the same principle applies to notice everything in your situation that is difficult. And your brain will do that. If you shine a torch on everything that's difficult, your brain will notice everything that's difficult. If you shine your brain and your head torch towards notice everything that represents an opportunity, then your brain will notice things that represent opportunities. So strategy number 1 is all to do with where are you focusing your head torch? And a subset of strategy number 1 is, are you focusing your head torch on the things that you can control, the things that you can influence, or the things that you are concerned about? Now, if I'm concerned about the rope snapping at the bungee jump, if I'm concerned about never being able to talk to the kids again, if I'm concerned about that, then my brain will focus on that. It will elicit, it will create emotions, it will create feelings, and that will drive behavior. And the behavior would be, if that was the case, walk away from doing the bungee jump. Don't walk towards the challenge, walk away from it. So strategy number 1 is all about controlling the controllables. So quick exercise for everybody. And these are rhetorical questions. I'm sure you already know the answer. If some of you can see my video and see my screen, you'll notice I'm holding onto an apple and the apple is falling. The apple is falling. If I was to ask you, why is the apple falling? I imagine everybody in the room says, well, that's because of gravity. The other reason why the apple is falling is because I'm actually letting go of it. It wouldn't fall unless I let go of it. Now, those two things have 2 degrees of control applied to it. I have no control over gravity, but I do have control of whether I let go of the apple or not. And I want you to have that reference in mind. As you go through any degree of change, any situation that you're in, are you focusing your head torch on the things that you have no control over, like gravity, or are you focusing your head torch on the things that you do have control over? And I often ask the question to individuals and clients of mine, if your business is struggling, what are you focused on? Are you focused on survival? And if the answer is yes, I'm focused on survival, I go, how much control do you have over survival? And the answer is none. If I then say, how much control do you have over being survivable? Putting yourself in a position to be survivable, then they have lots of control. With juniors and middle managers, I often ask the question, who's interested or concerned about promotion? And they all say, yeah, I want promotion, I want promotion. How much control do you have over promotion? And the answer is none, although they think they've got lots. If the answer was any control, they'd fill out the form and promote themselves. They can't do that. They have no control over promotion. If I ask them the question, how much control do you have over being promotable? And promotable, they've got lots of control. They can read books, they can work late, they can do some research, they can study more, they can find a mentor, they can get some sponsors. All of these things are things that they can control. So if you're focused on promotion, you're focused on the thing that you're concerned about, not the thing that you can control. That's a bit like focusing on gravity.